Hannah Tooting.
And I'm Lauren Spencer, and today we will be discussing our Taking Sides video 3. Our issue is, should neuroscience research be used to inform law practice? We believe that neuroscience is not developed enough to use justly and effectively in the court of law. Hence, brains don't commit crimes, people do. We feel that the neuroscience research is not advanced enough to be used to inform law practices, although it does show potential for the future.
Currently, the neuroscience research lacks the accuracy and reliability to be used in law practice when justifying real cases about real people.
Why isn't neuroscience enough? Although neuroscience has made amazing advances in recent years, shedding light on new developments and discoveries never imagined, the science is not mature enough to inform law practices. The connections of the brain that we learned from neuro research are truly amazing. This research includes pain and memory processing, the connectivity of people's thoughts, processes, and new information about truth-telling and lie detection. However, these new discoveries are not enough to use in law due to many factors. These factors include, we as scientists don't really understand exactly how the brain works. We don't know how the signals in our brain connect to our behaviors and actions completely. We also don't have the right amount of technology to be able to do the correct brain scans to fully understand how our brain is capable. Also, this kind of research, neurological research, is more an attempt at mind reading. It has little accuracy and is pretty theoretical. The lie detection methods discussed in the article were focused on tracing certain brain activities to the action of lying. But because this brain activity can't be exactly pinpointed to just lying, this kind of research isn't exactly accurate. Therefore, generally, neuroscience research isn't matured enough to replace traditional law and forensic methods.
Why is neuroscience not reliable in the courtroom? Because neuroscience is a recent scientific venture, we only have partial understanding of the relationship between brain activity and behavior. We do not have the technology to make any real connection between the two. We do not have a full comprehension of how the human brain acts with environmental, cultural, social, economic, and other outside forces to produce behavior. Also, everyone is different. There is an incredible amount of neural variation in the human population, thus making it extremely difficult to discover a normal baseline to compare other results to. Because of all the variation, researchers have been unable to reproduce results over time, even in different laboratories. In addition, there is a lack of understanding of how countermeasures by test subjects affect test results. Lastly, there is a giant ethical concern based around the Fifth Amendment, in which every human has the basic right to remain silent upon questioning by the authorities. What flaws have we seen with tech in the courtroom? Well, neuroscience technology was first practiced in the 1970s, but it didn't become popular until 1981 in the case of John Hinckley and the attempted assassination of President Ronald Reagan. Hinckley was ruled insane partially due to his CT scans presented showing abnormal brain atrophy. Because he was insane due to some scan of the brain that we don't even understand, he could not be held responsible for his crimes. The flaw in claims similar to those in Hinckley's case was not noticed until the case of United States versus Gigante. In the trial of United States versus Gigante, the judge rejected the presented CT scans due to the fact that there was no baseline to compare the scans against, and that the use of CT scans was to determine whether the defendant should be held responsible for his crime was not developed enough to be introduced to the court of law. What are the ethical concerns? Culber states that pain is interesting because it is a subjective experience that has until now remained primarily in the private realm, despite the very public implications of liability judgments in the courtroom. He argues we ought not to be forced to reveal information about how we are feeling. It does not raise the same kind of ethical issues as some other subjective experiences, but it does conflict with our basic right to the freedom to remain silent upon questioning by authorities. Our Fifth Amendment, to be exact. This suggests that a defendant may decide to take a lie test in order to explicate himself, but he cannot be compelled to do so by the state against his wishes. Additional research. In order to further our knowledge of the relationship between brain activity and the behavior in order to use neuroscience in the courtroom, we need to expand research from the basics to more specific factors. We must observe brain activity when interacting with the outside forces such as environment, cultural, and social factors. This will give us more of an understanding of how the brain processes information and whether the behavior is purely linked to the mental deficiency or if outside forces assist in the choices we humans make.
In the end, we've determined that there is not enough discoveries in neuroscience to use this relatively new science in the courtroom. Due to the lack of pure scientific fact and the large amount of assumptions behind many of these research accounts, neuroscience is not developed enough to have practical use in the courtroom.
Therefore, we believe that there is potential, but the science is not fully developed enough.